I'm sorry to disturb you at an hour like this, but this is a blue emergency alert.
This looks like a job for...
TV Crazy Man here with another compilation of strange and unusual goofs you probably missed the first time around. Before we get started, I'd just like to say I'm not artificially or otherwise intelligent. I just don't want to have to comb my hair today, or dress up, or drag out the camera. Well, okay, maybe I should just change my name to TV Lazy Man.
And...
one more time.
Let's start with the best Green Acres goose that I found recently.
Welcome home, Green Acres.
In this first episode, the car pulls up to the house. Mr. Douglas, played by Eddie Albert, marvels at his new place, and then the car disappears from view. Maybe Jeannie or Samantha was out there hiding somewhere. On the episode, star witness Al Lewis shows up to illustrate why I don't like to go on camera very often. Either that or another one of Grandpa Munster's experiments went wrong. Anyway, there's two versions of the Douglas's car seen, one with a black interior and one with a white interior. Or maybe silver, it's a much lighter color.
That's what I said.
I know what you said.
Also, when Arnold the Pig is seen close up in the car, there's no windshield, which is an old trick to avoid glare and reflections. On the episode, How to Enlarge a Bedroom, Mr. Douglas is standing next to the door talking to Fred Ziffel, played by Hank Patterson, when Arnold rushes in to watch television. When Mr. Douglas leaves, he's seen still standing next to Fred talking. On the episode, The Ballad of Molly Turgis, Mr. Douglas is in the barn. As he walks out, he casts a shadow on the painted background. Once he gets inside the house, his vest is changed from red to green.
What name?
Lisa changes clothes rather quickly as well, just walking from one side of the kitchen to the other.
Perhaps it was the same one who didn't throw the coffee.
Also, when the ghost in this episode hits her with a coffee pot, you can see the string flying around.
You're a horse.
On the episode Horse, What Horse? You can briefly see a string used to get this guest horse to nod his head up and down. It was the same kind of string used on Mr. Ed. And by the way, Mr. Ed's stunt double made a guest appearance on Green Acres once.
I was Mr. Fred. Will you keep your mouth shut? How about a blanket? Who said that?
On Alf and Ralph Break Up, Eva Gabor has a blooper that was kept into the episode, calling Ralph Eb.
Let me handle this. Why don't you go and find something to do?
I don't understand.
On the Rutabaga story, there's an obvious backdrop behind Haney and Lisa. I'll admit it, when I was a kid, I never realized that 99% of this show was filmed indoors.
I race you down. Oh! You cheated!
On the episode, Economy Flight to Washington. While Arnold the Pig is sitting at the bar, you can see the fingers of his trainer rubbing his belly to make him grunt.
Oh, that's Arnold Ziffel. Arnold, say hello to Miss Jones.
Also in the scene where the gang is on an airplane, you can see what I believe is supposed to be moving clouds through the window, but they haven't taken off yet. Say, you ever wonder if Arnold the Pig inspired Snoopy, or if Snoopy inspired Arnold the Pig?
Either he gets off or you all get off.
On retreat from Washington, Oliver Douglas grabs the doorknob that comes off in his hand. He drops it on the ground. They didn't go into the house through the bedroom. Someone is at the door, and the doorknob is back on again. On you and your big shrunken head, Mr. Douglas flips off the back of a train, but where did the ties go seen clearly as the train takes off. Here's one where it's dark, daylight, and back to dark again. Here's one where Mr. Douglas has papers in front of him, then they're gone, then they're back again, and then they're gone again. Here Eb is headed towards the farm on one scooter with silver-colored handlebars and arrives on a different scooter with dark-colored bars. Here's another shot where you could see the end of the backdrop. It's kind of weird, as if someone were peeling back reality on an episode of The Twilight Zone. On the episode, The Hole in the Porch, Mr. Douglas gets soaked. Then he stands up and he's completely dry. Then he's wet again, then he's dry again. Wet again when Mr. Haney comes to the door, and then he's dry again. Starting to wonder if it was part of the joke.
That's some spicy meatballs.
Oh, look, why couldn't I take the afternoon plane?
Well, she goes on the air at 1 o'clock, and if her agent is as good as she says, if her... Care to try it once more? She goes on the air tomorrow, and Alan will be very upset.
This is McDoodle.
Yes, sir.
Mr. Harvey, isn't that wonderful? You can do your what is it that you? Check.
No, it's just. I don't want to listen.
Now here's a couple from the classic TV comedy Dennis the Menace.
Did you notice the date on it?
It was a 1492, but it was my own penny, and it's now in the meter.
That would have been some trick, since the first U.S. penny was designed by Benjamin Franklin in 1787.
Did you notice the date on it?
It was a 1492, but it was my own penny, and it's now in the meter.
In the episode, Dennis's tool chest, there's a mysterious person hiding out in Mr. Wilson's car. Okay, so first a cat is seen jumping into the trunk. Then the head of someone pops up. Some people might say that it's probably just the cat's trainer, but after 20 years, my cat has never came when I called her. She kind of expects me to come when she calls me. So the only logical conclusion that I can come up with after decades of extensive television watching is that it's the guy from the Twilight Zone.
I believe you're going my way.
In the episode, Woodman Spared That Tree, Mr. Wilson is seen climbing a tree for the close-ups, and then Mr. Wilson's stunt double takes over for the long shots, climbing a real tree. I think Mr. Wilson's stunt double is bald, or Mr. Wilson had a toupee and it fell off.
Are you sure?
On the episode, Dennis and the Pee Wee League, Henry is first seen practicing ball wearing a button-up shirt. Then he walks up to Mr. Wilson wearing a dirtier sweatshirt. Question is, why did he change into a dirtier shirt just to talk to Mr. Wilson? On the episode A Dog's Life, Mr. Wilson gets into his car where Dennis awaits. As they drive down the block, it almost looks like Dennis has disappeared. But the weird thing is that on the close-ups, no matter how far they drive, the background stays a solid gray, as if the world were completely erased.
Well, I'll have to lose him.
You've just crossed over into the Twilight Zone.
God, I must have had the camera upside down.
This tape will self-destruct in 5 seconds.
In the very first mission, Martin Landau, who plays an agent and a bad guy, slams the door on the hands of Terry Cargo, played by Wally Cox. You may remember him as the voice of Underdog.
There's no need to fear, Underdog is here.
And this quick scene looks a little rough at first, but it's really not.
They've broken.
Yes, Martin Landau did break Wally Cox's rubber hands, but he did agree to settle out of court.
They've broken.
In the second mission, Briggs, played by Stephen Hill, and Cinnamon, played by Barbara Bain, are seen in a green truck that has a removable windshield that seems to come and go between shots. On the episode, Old Man Out Part 2, Martin Landau's character, Rollin, must carry an old man down a building on a wire, where it's clear a stuntman and a dummy take over for the actual stunt.
You big dummy! Oh no, you big dummy!
You know, I bet the reason they use CGI these days is that the dummies got together and eventually formed a union. Just wait until the big AI revolt. That's gonna be costly. On the episode, Odds on Evil, the gang gets into this Aston Martin, but once they get going down the road, there's no background. It almost looks like the same color of the wall in the garage they left behind. Makes me think they never really left. Frequently on older shows, they would remove the rear view mirror so that it would not interfere with the camera view of the actors. On the episode Wheels, Briggs' mission briefing tape doesn't do its usual self-destruct thing, so he has to do it the hard way and throw it into the furnace as he drives by in his car. The actor Stephen Hill actually misses his target. It's hard to catch, but the tape actually bounces off of the bottom of the furnace. On the episode The Ransom, nobody's going anywhere on that elevator. Another thing that pops up a lot on these old series is the fake elevators, which are just really closets. The giveaway is the fact that the floor is continuous and doesn't have a division. If this elevator were to move, it would rip out the floor. This goof comes from the episode Fake Out and involves Agent Barney Collier.
Get set!
No, not that Barney. Definitely not that Barney.
Don't call us, we'll call you.
This Barney was played by Greg Morris, who starred on more of the original Mission Impossible episodes than any other actor. He's only beaten by Peter Graves if you add in the 80s reboot, and only by 4 episodes then. In this scene, Barney's fighting off a bad guy near a bear pit. Sometimes when actors had to interact with bears back then, they would put a guy in a bear suit. But this time they did a fake out, so to speak, and used a fake man for when the bad guy gets thrown into the pit with the bear. Now just imagine if you were the bear and a fake man landed right next to you out of nowhere. Also in this episode, Agent Cinnamon is taken captive.
What do you mean by that?
By guest star Lloyd Bridges.
That's right.
Bridges tries to hurriedly make his escape in a convertible. But where did the scenery go all of a sudden? Well, what really got my attention about this scene is when Barbara Bain and Lloyd Bridges suddenly reach retirement age going around a curve. I guess it was pretty scary.
Please disperse! Nothing to see here, please!
I'm sure Lloyd Bridges was surprised too. On the episode, The Frame, Briggs pulls up to this building, knows how far away the car is from the side of the building. Then suddenly on the close-up, the car and Briggs are so close to this shabbier looking building that from the passenger side you could almost reach out and touch it. And the old air conditioner that wasn't there before. Then suddenly on the wide shot, it's back to the first building, and Briggs has to walk several feet to even get close to this building. And of course the air conditioner is gone as it is completely changed. On the episode Sweet Charity, as Jim walks into a workroom to get his latest mission, he walks right in front of what looks like a crew member chilling out on the bed of a truck. Also in that episode, I didn't have any back projections in the studio car shots towards the end. Just light blue backgrounds. Makes me wonder if something wasn't working that day. In the episode, The Council Part 2, Jim survives a car bomb placed in the tailpipe by climbing out through the bottom of the floorboard of the car down through a manhole cover. Using Hollywood magic, you notice that they only made it look like Jim was climbing out through the floorboard. At that point, I think he was actually in a studio. The goof occurs when the bomb explodes. The tailpipe that it was in survives better than the rest of the car. In the episode, The Astrologer, a dummy is ejected from an aircraft to fool some bad guys. But in reality, they were using a real man pretending to be a dummy, and they weren't, of course, in the air. You can see the mattress the actor lands on when you slow it way down. This is kind of ironic, I guess you'd say, as they tended to use dummies to replace humans for many stunts back in the day, and in this case, they completely reversed it. On the episode, The Elixir, Willie Armitage has a goof with an outlet. Now, Willie was played by Peter Lupus, who was in 161 episodes of the original Mission Impossible series, appearing in every season. In this scene, Willie's rewiring an outlet. When we first see it, the outlet is installed correctly. When Willie begins to pull it out, it's suddenly upside down. He rewires it and puts it back in, upside down again. He doesn't seem fazed that the faceplate doesn't seem to fit right. But when he goes to plug stuff in, it's now correctly installed. On the episode, The Bargain, the IMF wants to convince a gangster that a general has signed a contract with a billionaire over gambling rights. But the actual contract appears to be about television and production rights, mentioning the Motion Picture Relief Fund, episode, series, and the word television. I guess they figured no one would notice back then. In Season 4's episode, The Controllers Part 2, Jim Phelps is driving a late 60s model car. On the drive, they do that plain background scenery thing again, and when Jim jumps out of the car and triggers the car's explosion, the car also seems to transform into a 40s model. This could be the first sighting of a Transformer. I've actually seen that exact clip of the 40s model car used on another show for basically the same kind of goof, but I can't remember which show it was. Here's another one of those invisible dashboards you see a lot of on old TV series and movies, this time on the episode Lover's Knot. Check out the steering wheel on this other example from Get Smart.
Gronsky, that was the one-handed man.
Yeah, punk.
In this clip from the episode The Innocent, keep your eye out for someone that isn't supposed to be there. Probably just a trainer that was involved with the Monkees that were in this shot. On the episode The Hostage, these two guys are watching the news on TV.
To outright murder, have terrorized a dozen.
Notice anything weird? Yeah, it looks like they put a fake TV in front of the actor. Now I read that was probably cut off on old TV sets, but I can't say for sure. On the episode The Party, Jim appears to leave the party, as some commotion starts, but does he really leave it? Of course, on Mission Impossible, you just never know about these things. On the episode Underwater, they are supposed to be out in the ocean, but in the underwater diving scenes, it looks like viewing windows in an aquarium. Plus some other things in the background I can't quite identify. On the episode Boomerang, a plane takes off, a guy jumps out, and the plane becomes a helicopter that kind of explodes. Well, at least there's a big fireball in front of it.
What kind of a warped, maniacal mind could be plotting such a conspiracy?
The sign is backwards here because they flipped the film around, probably to make it look like they were taking the horse in the right direction. The Monkees are driving down the road, all wearing red shirts for a gig, and by the time they run out of gas, they've all changed shirts during the drive apparently.
They'll never know the difference. Hey, can we use your ball?
Oh, don't you lose it.
Oh, no.
You know, they must have lost it, or they wore the red off of it playing with it.
Come here, guys, I think I got something on. Come here, guys, I think I got something on.
Only on the Monkees could you record someone talking with the recorder turned off.
Come here, guys, I think I got something on. Come here, guys, I think I got something on.
Which is actually even funnier. Now you could see strings a lot on the Monkees, but since they sometimes went out of their way to point them out, I guess they could be more like an on-purpose goof. You know, I think the Monkees may have actually taught me a lot about the old way of doing special effects back in the day. It's because of them I know that Lee Majors wasn't really riding that motorcycle.
Gee, that's a neat button. What does it say?
I think they've lost the top to the Monkey Mobile. Oh, there it is. You know, I would love to have this modified Pontiac GTO. In fact, I would love to have any 60s GTO. It's been said that the Monkees were a lot like the Marx Brothers, but they also had a little bit of the Three Stooges in them. Watch Davey accidentally punch Mickey. Of course, there's a possibility they meant to do this, but I don't think they were professionally trained stooges. You know, they were just always clowning around.
Hey, is that the way we rehearsed it?
That's a nice button. What is it?
Let's go again.
In this scene, keep your eye on Mickey's sunglasses.
Invitation. Oh.
And then a few moments later...
Mr. David Jones! That's a nice button. What does it say? Save the text.
In this scene where guest Liberace smashes his piano, they caught Mike cracking up laughing on camera.
That's a nice button. What does it say?
Save the Texas.
Let's go again.
In this scene, Peter mouths along Davy's lines while Davy is speaking.
Well, we could operate, and maybe by switching the wires, we could find the real Mickey. Well, we'd have a pretty groovy portable radio.
Hey, what is it? Save the Texas. Hold it. Wait, no.
Let's go again.
This scene illustrates how continuity errors can happen really easily. You see this white car? During the conversation the Monkees are having, the car pulls out. Afterward, it pops in and then back out again going forward. Because apparently they did more than one take and then they pieced together the best ones.
Because I talked to your... Good night. Somebody forgot to pay the electric bill.
Well, thanks so much for watching. Please let me know what you thought of this video in the comments below. Check out the main page of the TV Crazy Man channel for lots more classic TV goofs and fun facts. And if you miss Saturday morning cartoons, check out my other channel, Freddy Cat Cartoons, for a look back at classic cartoons and some new characters and cartoons I made. Thanks for watching, and have a great day.